AIESEC is the world's largest youth-led organization. We have presence in more than 125 countries, and then we actually have a large membership that is more than 70,000 active members and 1 million alumni since our creation in 1948. But then, when we talk about youth-led organization, we're talking that the average age of a member is between 20 and 23 years old, and they stayed in AIESEC for an average of 6 weeks or 6 years. So these are like the two range of the membership that we have. What exactly do we do? AIESEC has a mission to achieve peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. But this is a very broad vision. So what are exactly the steps that we do in order to get there? We develop leaders that create a positive impact for the world. And this positive impact is basically done through a global exchange program in which we want to send every young person on exchange so they can go to somewhere in the world, become a global citizen, and create a positive impact in that part of the world in which they are impacting. And while they're doing that direct impact, they're actually developing leadership skills that will allow them to be the leaders that the world needs once they are back in their countries. As president of AIESEC International, I lead directly a team of 24 people. And these 24 people are the global vice presidents that run the entire operations of the global office. And at the same time, they are the board of directors that make all the strategic decisions. So we execute and direct the strategy globally. And the 24 people team, this team that globally leads AIESEC directs a whole network of 125 national presidents all over the world that at the same time they lead their national chapters and their local members towards the same global strategy. So basically what I need to do is just to ensure that everything is coordinated among the 24 people, so I don't tell them what to do. I think that there's a very, very wise quote of Steve Jobs that you hire people that is smarter than you, because then if you're smarter than them, then what's the point of having them on the first place? So I'm just like the facilitator for them, like to reach to the best potential that they possibly can, and they are the ones who run the organization. What do I do on a daily basis? I think that is divided in 3 main steps. The first one is how I represent AIESEC in the external and the internal level of the organization. And by representation, it means that I travel a lot. I travel a lot for external events, such as, for example, right now, the partnership with JCI. But I also travel a lot in internal events of AIESEC, in which I try to inspire the members towards becoming the best version that they can for the organization. The second part is the part of management. And yes, since we are strategy and execution at the same time in the global office, I need to do a lot of management stuff. Like, for example, I am the legal representation and the legal representative, and I need to sign a lot of contracts. I need to make a lot of financial decisions, a lot of legal decisions that are related with brand, risk management, etc. And the last part is the leadership part. Okay, so one thing is to be a manager, but a very different thing is to be a leader. And in the leader part, it's how you're going to take the best that you can out of the people that is working with you. That is, in my case, the 24 people team. So with that being said, I think that trying to develop people, what I'm developing myself, is what I do on a daily basis in my job. Actually, like for me, more than being here in the World Congress is partnership with JCI, what really, really has a huge, huge impact in my term as president of AIESEC, because what I see is that AIESEC, since 1948, we have like this beautiful vision, peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential, and we want to develop young leaders. But then it's very frustrating when you're so young, just like to believe that everything in the world can be better, but then like not actually find a lot of people who believe the same things. And then we've been working alone for many, many years. And although we try to partner as much as we can with different organizations to do it, it's not that easy. And when I actually start to get to know more about JCI's missions and visions and values, I completely fell in love with the organization, because they're literally like sisters. Like, I don't know exactly how to spot like the many potential differences that we have, because for me it's much more easy to find the many similarities that we have. And in that way, when you have such a big organization that JCI is, and with another big organization that AIESEC is, and both of them working for a bigger purpose that is making out of this world a better place and like a brotherhood of men, that's something that really, really fills me with hope. And I hope that also for every member of my organization, that we are not alone in this quest of, creating young leaders. So with that being said, and understanding like the reason and the purpose of the partnership, being in the World Congress of JCI represents that this is not only a work that is done between the global headquarters and that's it. The true impact doesn't stay in an agreement on a page of paper. The true impact is what this represents for all the local chapters of JCI and AIESEC all over the world, that I hope that we'll work together and truly transform those local societies. Because yes, we sign a partnership globally, but we transform the world locally. So in the quest of developing world leaders that are global citizens, self-aware, with the ability to empower others and with the ability to be solution-oriented, we have to have a flow, because it doesn't happen from one day to another one. The flow that we call the AIESEC experience have different phases. We can call them like the experience, the phase of creating awareness, creating engagement, creating action, and then creating lifelong leaders for the world. So in each one of these phases, AIESEC has a very different impact model. What I was mentioning at the beginning is that in the part of action, we send people abroad on exchange so they can change the world when they are in the different parts of the world. But then, in order for you to get to this part of the action, you first need to be aware and engage towards a purpose in life. YouthSpeak goes exactly into the part of awareness and engagement. YouthSpeak is one of the surveys that analyzes youth in general. What's youth opinion towards different matters. Every year we change the topic of what the survey is, and then we release it completely open to the network, like to the world, in order for the world to understand what exactly do we do as millennials in order for changing the world and then to understand what we're doing. The version of the 2015 year was about how we can best transition from education towards professional life. And then this was giving a lot of insights to companies, governments, education institutions, and universities, etc., about what really matters to young people when it comes to finding a good place to work, towards what exactly what I'm looking when I'm finding a career, what is exactly my fears and my hopes in my professional aspirations. But then now, since that report is already created, then we are moving on to the 2016 YouthSpeak survey. And the version of the 2016 survey is about how to best engage millennials. And in that part, we are merging our aspiration to work together with the United Nations towards the Sustainable Development Goals. So what we want is like to create a lot of awareness towards the 17 global goals that we have, and then ensure that millennials understand their responsibility towards achieving those goals, because the world that we will have by the year 2030 will be everything that us, as young generation of today, do now. It's not about what the leaders will do in the future. No, it's our responsibility. And understanding this, also the current generations of leaders need to understand how to best engage and work with us. Young people are partners of governments. Young people are partners of universities. Young people are partners of everything that you can imagine. But if our voice is not heard, if our opinion is not being taken into consideration, then it will be extremely hard for us to ensure that we will get to shape the world that we want for the year 2030. So that's exactly what YouthSpeak is for, to ensure that we have a tool that gives data-based information on what's youth opinion. Like talking about leadership, and this is actually one of another reason why I really put a lot of my hopes into the JCI partnership, because in AIESEC I truly feel the impact that this organization does to young people. Like imagine that you're 18 and out of the blue you have a lot of responsibilities in university, and then you're having a lot of responsibilities in your family, like your life is changing completely, and then this organization in which you're a complete full-time volunteer tells you that you have a JD, a things like task to like achieve and everything, and then you're working under so much pressure that you truly discover the true potential within yourself. AIESEC really puts you outside the bubble, like outside your comfort zone, and then it allows you to explore your abilities outside the bubble that you're used to. Because there's actually one quote that I really like that defines AIESEC, that is like, you never know how strong you are until strong is the only choice you have. So this pretty much for me defines AIESEC. Like AIESEC puts you to a very strong limit, and then you get a lot of amazing skills. But something that I really want to put a lot of efforts is, since our experience, unlike JCI and many other leadership development organizations, are so short, what kind of plug and play partnerships can I do to ensure that we are truly making lifelong leaders? And in that sense, next steps for me or for any member of the organization, either if it's being president of the country or if it's being a housewife, I truly feel that everybody can be a leader. If you ask me, my greatest example of leadership in my life is my mother. She made me who I am, and she shaped every value that I possibly have towards the person that I think that every world citizen should have. So, and she's not the president of the country. However, she is a very good leader. So if it's going to be a high role or a backstage role. I think that the leadership skills is truly what I hope that in every next step of every AIESECer in the world is always remaining. So for JCI and AIESEC partnership, my main wish is, of course, together we can develop the leaders that the world need, and then that we're truly making a different world for us and for the future generations ahead of us. And in order for this to happen, there are very concrete action steps that are coming very soon, and then that you will be hearing as long as we are working together every single day at a local, national, or global office to make this partnership thrive. For now, my big invitation is to ensure that the voice of the JCI members is being heard, and therefore to fill the YouthSpeak survey. It's very simple. You go to www.youthspeak.iesec.org, and then you will get to see what the movement is all about and what is exactly your contribution towards making the voice of the young people be very, very loud in governments, in companies, and civil societies. Thank you.